is up, you guys? My name is Alexandra, and welcome back to my super beige apartment kitchen. Today we're going to be making a vegan brisket, or like a beef roast of sorts. Now, I didn't grow up eating beef. I don't know what exactly a brisket is, or the difference between like another kind of roast, but that's what we're going to be making today. This recipe is from probably the most underrated vegan cooking channel on YouTube right now. The account's name is Connie's RAWsome Kitchen. Go check her out, but like after this video, she'll be linked in the description down below. So we're just gonna jump right into it because today's video is going to be a process, and as you can tell from my voice, I am a little bit sick today. No regrets, you guys. Let's make some vegan brisket. So today we will be needing 1 cup of vital wheat gluten, 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of mushroom powder, 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt, 1 1/2 teaspoons of maple syrup, 1/2 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 5 tablespoons of olive oil, 1/2 cup of water, and 1 small to medium beet, cooked and blended. So that's what you're going to be needing for the actual seitan roast itself. We're going to be needing more a little bit later for like a broth to cook it in, and then also the spices that we're going to be frying it in. So let's get started with the seitan. Now, I am going to double my recipe today because I do want leftovers. If I'm going to go through this entire process, I might as well have something to show for it. So hopefully it's good because I'm making double. Besides the wet ingredients, we're going to add them in now, and it's going to start a process. We're going to have to knead it forever. I'm kind of hoping that my hands aren't going to be dyed pink because I have a networking event to go to tomorrow. So pray for me. I didn't say like how much of the pureed beet should go in. I'm going to add some, and then if I need more, I'm going to add a little bit more. Mine's not really forming a ball, it's just kind of staying a little bit crumbly, so I think I might add all of the beet and hope for the best. That looks like a hunk of like red meat. Oh my gosh, look at that. It says that we should let this sit for a minimum of 20 minutes, I think it is. So we're gonna coat the outside of this with the beefless powder seasoning that I made this morning, chili flakes, and pickling spice, which I don't know if I listed earlier that I needed in this recipe, but you're gonna need some pickling spice, so do that. I'm just gonna coat the bottom of our bowl with the seasonings, put it in, and then sprinkle a little bit more on top, cover it, and let it sit. And this is what we have so far. Kind of looks gross from this angle, doesn't it? It is our roast with all of our spices. It smells really good, actually. I don't know about beefy, but like dang, it smells good. We're gonna let this rest. She says between 20 minutes and 30 minutes minimum, up to a couple of hours. So we're gonna do that, and I will see you in a little while. Oh yeah, that has to be in the refrigerator. Do that, let it sit in the refrigerator. Do that, refrigerator. All right, you guys, it has been an hour and a half, and we're gonna do the next part of this because I don't have all day. Actually, I do have all day, but I don't want to spend all day doing this. I'd rather not. I'd rather spend the day eating it. Anyway, let's get on to the next part. So the next step, we have to make a broth that we will be cooking our roast in. So for your broth, you will be needing 5 cups of water, 2 bay leaves, 2 to 5 cloves of garlic, 2 to 3 teaspoons of olive oil, a bunch of salt, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of mustard seed, 1 1/2 teaspoons of allspice berries, which I did not know were a thing, jerk seasoning, and our beefless seasoning that we made earlier. We're gonna combine all of that into a pot, put it on the stove, and let it come to a simmer. In the video, in her recipe, she says that it needs to be kind of like a brine, like a salty brine. So add as much salt as you need until it tastes like freaking salty, man. Make your broth salty. Our broth is coming to a gentle simmer, not a boil. You do not want to boil your seitan. It'll get spongy and weird, and all of your hard kneading work will be for nothing. we're gonna wrap up our seitan roast in a cheesecloth. Broth is coming to a boil right now. We're gonna turn it back, let it come to a simmer. We're gonna put our roast loaf thing into the water, broth, brine, stock, sauce. I don't know what the proper term is for that. We're gonna put this in there. We're going to cover it and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. And then we're gonna flip halfway through. Then we're gonna bake it in the oven. And I just wanted to note, in her video, she says that you are not going to let the liquid cover the seitan roast. You're gonna let it come to about a halfway point. You don't want it to be submerged. Also, pick a pot that can go in the oven because that'll make your life easier. I'm gonna let that go and I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, so once you've flipped your seitan, you are going to let it simmer for another 15 minutes. After that, we're gonna pop it in the oven and preheat it to 275 degrees for an hour and a half. It's been an hour and a half and we're gonna take our brisket out of the oven and we're gonna take a look at it. Look at that. That looks like meat. All right, now that we've got our meat unwrapped and it's just gonna set on the counter for a little while, we are going to prepare a pan because we're now going to pan fry it and sear it and brown it and make it all caramelly and delicious like you would a normal meat roast. So that's what we're gonna get into right now. For this next part, you're going to be needing maple syrup or brown sugar, sweet yellow or Dijon mustard, cooking oil, and lots of black pepper. So in this part of her recipe video, she just puts the oil in the pan, spreads mustard and the maple on the roast, heats up the oil, and just puts it right in there and lets it fry. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna transfer that to our cutting board and we're just gonna let it rest like you would a regular brisket. I'm a whip! Oh my god, I'm scared. Next up, the big reveal. I'm so excited. I'm thinking that it's probably just gonna taste like seitan. There's not too many ways that you can make seitan taste like outrageously different. I didn't use like a beef stock. I fully used her recipe from start to finish. So we're gonna see how this goes. But I'm really excited, oh my god. So I'm gonna let this rest and then we're gonna cut in. You ready? As hers, but I'd say that's a brisket. All right, you guys, it is time for a final taste test. After hours have gone by, let's see if this is worth it and if I am ever going to make this again. Excuse me, sir, I need a plate. All right, I'm just gonna take these first few pieces here. It smells like seitan and beets, if I'm being completely honest here. Let's try it. Woo. It's drier than I thought it was going to be. The way that I fried it, or the way that she's told me to fry it, around the edges, that is where it tastes most like meat, in the way that you've fried it. So like when you bite around the edges with part of the seitan, it has a very, very meaty flavor and texture about it. That is what it looks like. Like, it's very much like meat, but at the same time, like, not at all. Okay, final thoughts. So I've had a little bit more, and what I'm getting at with eating around the edges is that when it's oily, it tastes more like meat, because that is the texture of meat. Meat is quite fatty and quite oily. So I might actually let this set in the broth that I had baked it in the first place, and then instead of just searing all the way around it, I might give each, like, slice it really thick and give them each like a decent sear. Overall, I would give this probably like a 7 point, no, maybe not a 7. I give it like an 8.5 out of 10 for like replicating meat. For homemade meat, like that's impressive. Like, man, like that looks like a hunk of meat. Does that not? It looks like meat. I'm gonna give them that. Thank you so much to Connie's RAWsome Kitchen for the recipe inspiration. Sorry about another test kitchen. I've just never had any excuse to test recipes that I've seen online. So that's what I've been doing lately, and I hope you guys like it. Next week, we probably won't have another test kitchen. We'll probably have one of my recipes or a veganize it on the fly. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed the video today, you guys. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up if you did, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I love that you guys are subscribing. I upload every Saturday, so make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss it, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Cheers.